My name is Richard Bloom, and I am primarily the head of the mold department. So I'm in charge of dealing with artist originals and making the mold that typically starts the process. I apply rubber that's a flexible rubber that holds all the information of the sculpture, and then we put a hard plaster shell over that, and then I take it all apart, give the artist back their original, and I send the mold over to the wax department so that they can make the wax and start the actual casting process.
The wax is the second or third, depending on what the project is, the second or third stop that the project takes. It's one of the biggest parts that we do. We do the last wax process here at Bollinger Atelier. So when the original is brought to us, it's usually in clay or wood or some other material that can't just be burned out, allowing the bronze to be poured into the mold. So we actually have to create a wax of that piece. So when that original comes in and they make a mold of that original, they take that out, they give the original back to the artist, and then we make a wax of that, which is the second positive. So after we make our wax and we gate our wax, we send it to the next department, which is the shell department, and they actually create another mold, the second mold, around our wax piece. And then the top is cut off after that mold is built up, turned upside down, and they melt out that wax, leaving a perfect void inside that shell, second mold. And then the metal itself is poured directly into that ceramic mold and then smashed off, leaving the perfect bronze. Without our wax, there would be no perfect bronze. There would be no void left when you evacuate the wax.
My name is Mike Waschek, and I supervise the metal chasing and fabrication. Well, our department is responsible for our all metal finishing. So it begins with assembly. No matter whether it's cast or fabricated, we have to assemble it, and then we have to weld it. There's many different welding processes we use: TIG welding, MIG welding.
My grinding and welding is, I try to make it invisible. We're actually trying to make our grinds and welds look like they're not grinding and welding.
We also have to then chase those welds back or use grinders, hand tools, things like that to remove the weld.
Essentially, a metal chaser is in the same line as a fabricator, where you're basically manipulating metal to make it look like the right form, its finished final product. Basically, the goal is to make the end product look as accurate as the original as possible, using a host of different tools and techniques.
If it's a textured piece, we have to replicate that texture. If it's a smooth, polished piece, we have to sand and polish the piece, and all in preparation for patina or paint.
Patina is the final coloring of the sculpture that we do here. It is a natural process that involves the application of chemicals, using heat and different techniques and whatnot to bring out the natural reaction with the metal that we use here and the chemicals that we use.